Welcome to the Toadstool Boardroom for the week of June 11th, 2024. My name's Logan Plant, and I'm joined this week by the whole crew. Justin Coreyes makes his return. Hi, Justin.
Hi, Logan. Hi, everybody.
Welcome back. We missed you.
It's nice to be back.
And also back after we all took a week off, Chris Shriver. Hi, Chris.
I forgot we took a week off, but hi.
I know, right? Yeah, it's kind of weird. We don't often miss weeks, but last week was a very busy one. SGF, IGN Live, Xbox Showcase. There was a ton of stuff going on. We're still waiting on the Nintendo Direct. We were hoping next time we talk to you it would happen, but we still don't know when it's going to be. Hopefully next week. We're waiting to hear on that, but we've still got a really fun show. Justin reviewed a game, or is still reviewing a game in progress that we're going to talk a lot about, and it's on Switch. I played a really cool game at IGN Live that I want to talk about. PlayStation is publishing another game on Switch, which is really interesting. But I want to start just by saying hi to all the Toadstool Boardroom fans I saw over the weekend in Los Angeles. Super cool for you all to come up and say hi. One guy came up and said hi and whipped out his F-Zero AX pilot card that he had in his wallet, which was so insanely cool. It was super beaten up and weathered, but it was awesome to see that. And I also saw a man by the name of Odell Harmon Jr. when I was in Los Angeles.
Legend.
Which was super fun.
My boy.
Yeah, it was he stopped by IGN Live very briefly to say hi, and it was great to see Odell as always. So, yeah, thanks to everyone who stopped and said hello. Let's get into it, though, guys. So this was at Summer Game Fest. LEGO Horizon Adventures was announced, and it's coming holiday 2024. And it's coming to Nintendo Switch. And Horizon, I mean Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. That is Guerrilla's open-world action-adventure series over on the PlayStation side. And this is, I think, just the second time that something PlayStation published is coming to Switch. We have talked about MLB The Show a lot. Justin plays those games every year, frequently reviews them. That has been on Switch for a couple years now. But Justin, you were saying that feels different than this one does.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the conventional wisdom is that MLB themselves have a lot of influence over the fact that they're a multi-platform release for the show. This is not the case. Sony isn't beholden to anybody else by doing this. Frankly, I don't believe that LEGO particularly cares about that sort of thing. We've seen them release in all sorts of different places. This is a sign to me that Sony also sees that the future is multi-platform. We've already seen them do that a bit with extending things to PC, and creating a title that seems perfectly fit for the Nintendo Switch seems like a really smart move for them. One, because it's going to sell a lot of software because that's a really huge install base, and two, is it does open up the series to potential fans who may want to get into the Sony ecosystem down the road to play the mainline Horizon titles.
Is this the Horizon Zero Dawn remake that was rumored 2 years ago? Because people, do you remember that? Something was leaked saying that they're working on a remake of Horizon Zero Dawn, and then this surfaces, and it, I believe, is retelling the story of the first game, and they'd have to be crazy to also be working on a remake of it, right?
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Sony would do that.
They would.
Sony would absolutely do that. No, I'm pretty sure that had... This could be, but I'm pretty sure that had, like, its own logo. Like, that was part of the leak. That it was going to be.
Oh, okay.
I could be totally. It was either that or I might be mixing it up with an MMO. There was a Horizon MMO that leaked at 1.2.
Oh yeah, that looked
that
like
it like had its own
Hunter.
Subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're really going in hard on this franchise. That
would make a lot of sense though if it was that.
Yeah, but this is a weird one because this, I think, and I could be wrong, is the first time LEGO is adapting a video game. The source material for this is a video game. They've made original games like Lego City Undercover, and then they adapt movies and TV shows, Harry Potter, Star Wars, The Incredibles, Marvel. But have they done this before, where they take an already existing video game and kind of Lego-ify it? Because I can't think of an example.
Lego Rock Band is probably the only other one that I can think of.
Yeah.
But that's like,
still like a sequel
it's just,
rather than like an adaptation.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah. This is also the first time that, maybe the first time ever, or at least since the
Fortnite.
90s, Lego Fortnite.
Yeah, Lego Fortnite. Yeah, that's a really recent example. Nice call.
But even that's like a survival game, almost like a Minecraft type thing.
Yeah, like it's a different thing for sure.
Yeah. But since the 90s,
It doesn't even look that different.
that Traveler's Tales isn't doing this. This is a whole new studio that's making this game.
Really?
Do we know who's making it?
That's why We do
Yes,
Asobo.
It is
Because there's a Sobo and a
Gorilla,
Sobi.
and Studio Gobo is making it.
Gobo, never mind.
They're actually not entirely new. They have worked on. They've been a co-developer and assisted on things like Hogwarts Legacy and a couple of other things that they've helped out with. And so, but this is, I think, their biggest credit so far. Like, I think they were really just a support studio on those other titles, and now they're co-developer with Gorilla on Horizon Adventures. But yeah, let's get into it. What do we think about PlayStation publishing something on Nintendo Switch that's not MLB The Show like Justin was laying out? Chris, what do you think?
I think there's two major aspects here. I think one of them is Sony, I think, like Justin said, is realizing that they need to, in order, like, they can't just be selling the box and not making money on just the box. So, like, they have to sell hardware. And how do you do it? Well, you do it by introducing their franchises to 100 million plus more people than your current console is running it on. That's definitely a big win for them. The other is, I think they know, because like Shuhei Yoshida used to talk about this a lot, where there's this reliance on Sony for Nintendo, where, you know, for a lot of young players, like, Nintendo consoles are often their first consoles that they're going to get. But eventually, some of them are going to age out of Nintendo, whether they're, you know, wise enough not to, or, you know, however you want to phrase that. But they are going to pick some platform, whether it's PC, whether it's PS5, or one of the Xbox consoles. And I think this is a gateway into what is available in the PlayStation ecosystem. If you can give a 7-year-old kid now a copy of Lego Horizon to play with his dad, who maybe is familiar with the franchise or has seen it and thought it looked cool, and then they go, hey, you know, little Johnny is going to be 10 next year. Maybe we should get him a PlayStation because he liked that Horizon game so much. And then, you know, like that conversation makes sense to me in just like the standard household. I feel like those are probably the two major reasons as to why.
Well, and it's worth pointing out that there have, for a while now, been Lego Horizon sets. Like, you can make a Lego tall neck, one of the big kind of Brontosaurus dinosaurs from the game, and things like that. Yeah. So this isn't a completely new thing. What's new is that that's being made into a game, and that we're seeing it in interesting places like the Switch.
Which is, I love that you bring that up, because the first thing I see, my Nintendo brain sees when I see, oh, they made a tall neck 2 years ago, and now a Lego set, and now they announced this video game. Are they going to make a Lego Legend of Zelda video game? Because that would rule. That would be so cool. They just announced
that would high rule. I would play that so much.
Yeah, I think that could happen. I could see Nintendo wanting to do that. They've taken risks with Zelda before. Like Cadence of Hyrule was something they handed off to another developer. So yeah, they could definitely.
Man, Link with all the little Lego expressions, like I love that idea so much.
Yeah. I'm not personally interested in this game. I just think it's most interesting that PlayStation is putting something out on Nintendo, and Nintendo is like collecting the Infinity Stones of all the different platform holders' games at this point. Because we still live in an age where PlayStation and Xbox view each other as the direct competitors, and so they stay away from each other's hardware. But Nintendo, who is crushing them in both hardware and software sales, just gets it all because they don't view them in the same realm. They're not really targeting the same audience. So yeah, why not just put everything on Switch? That they can. This isn't going to become a common thing because Switch just isn't able to run what PlayStation 5 can. But a Lego game, all the Lego games are already on Switch. It makes sense this time. So we'll see if they keep doing this as we move forward into Switch 2 when Nintendo does take a step up in hardware. If things are still coming to PS4, maybe they're still going to come to Switch 2 as well. But that was a cool announcement this week. I'm going to relax my super rigid Nintendo-only rules for a second and say, what was your favorite announcement from the last week that's not coming to Switch? Because we're still waiting on the Direct, but this was a pretty great week. Especially Xbox's show, I think everybody was really, really happy with. There were some super cool games showing off. So, Justin, what was the highlight for you?
Big picture from the Xbox showcase. I just want to say I love that there were a lot of things that had been in development that we that, as far as we knew, were dead, right? Like Perfect Dark and Fable and things like that we've only started to see glimpses of now. We saw gameplay and they look great. And I will say, I was really, really impressed by what I saw out of Perfect Dark. It seemed to have like some people have talked about Mirror's Edge. It was almost, to me, looks like a quicker, smoother parkour, more along the lines of like Titanfall or something like that, but we'll have to see how it plays out. But like, yeah, a really cool mix of parkour and gunplay and spy intrigue. I wasn't sure what was going to come out of the initiative, and now that they're getting help from, not IDOS,
Crystal Dynamics.
Crystal Dynamics. I knew it was one of the Tomb Raider related studios that were behind it, but that really impressed me.
Yeah, that is my highlight too. And I have not played Perfect Dark on N64, but I know of its existence, so I like that. It's a little bit Nintendo adjacent. You can compare.
It's got that rare connection.
Yeah, that whole Xbox showcase for me was a really interesting watch because it's a ton of franchises or genres that I'm generally not super interested in, but something about each one of the games that I wishlisted after the show really hooked me. Doom, The Dark Ages, I have not played a single Doom game. They don't really interest me, but the setting of this one and some of the enemies and the weapons they showed off just look so freaking cool. I love the skull that it grinds up and shoots out the bone pieces as the gun. Right? That's so cool. The whole room I was watching with was just like bursting out laughing at that one specifically. It's such an awesome idea. Chris, you're shaking your head. You like that one too?
So I was, Jess was out and I was watching my son, and he's 11 months old tomorrow, so just picture, the Doomslayer doing his thing, and he and I are watching this trailer together, and I'm holding him, and every time something happens, like, I'm looking at him like, like we're just screaming back and forth at each other. Yeah, I love that. The Captain America shield with the blades on it.
Right. The giant
really cool
mech.
addition. Yeah, like the dragon showed up, and then like, it closes with him shooting flames in the other one's mouth, and yeah, it's just like stupid hardcore metal stuff that Jack Black would only dream of, and I can't wait to play that game. Yeah. I love the Doom franchise.
And I gotta say, the Indiana Jones game looked pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it does.
I've been avoiding that game completely. Like, every time it comes on, I just like walk out of the room, or like, because I want to play it.
Yeah.
And I want to go in like completely dark on it. I just want to be wowed by it.
Chris, I just noticed you have F-Zero running in the background. That looks awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I did that just for you, buddy.
He knows how to distract Logan. Also, Gears. Gears looks... I'm so excited about Gears.
Gears was my highlight, yeah. Ever since the first one came out, and they talk about Emergence Day, and like that's like strewn throughout that, that first game's plot. I was like a huge Gears of War fan in the 360 era, and I always wanted to play that game. And like Judgment, I thought was going to be it, and then it wasn't. Yep. And no, when it started, and when it was so like so close proximity and intimate, like in that trailer, and Mad World starts playing, I was like, oh my god, are they doing what I think they're doing? And then you saw Dom, and like that's the moment where you're like, oh my god, like that's Marcus, he's just young. Yeah, I kind of lost it when they showed that. I thought a lot of people are upset. I never finished Gears 5. I actually just picked it back up on Steam, so I could start playing it again at some point.
Nice.
Because apparently the ending of that is like crazy, like a Halo 2 level cliffhanger. But
yeah, that's true.
I don't care that they're not making Gears 6. Like, I'm so excited for this game.
Which is crazy, because it means at least a decade until Gears 6 does happen. That's how long these things take now, which is just wild. Yeah. I was watching in the media room at IGN Live, which was on the same floor as the panel room, which is where we did a watch party, where there were 300 people in there watching the Xbox show at the same time we were watching it and covering it. And there was a 10-second delay for some reason on the stream we were on versus the stream that they were on. And so we just heard that room erupting when certain things were happening. We're like, okay, we got to pay attention. Something huge is clearly about to happen. And the Gears reveal was just the loudest eruption of the whole show. And as it should be, it was the last thing they showed. It was huge. But yeah, I'm not a Gears guy, but I could sense how excited people were for it. It looks cool. Also, I want to say, this is the show.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Logan a little bit?
Case.
Hold on, Logan. Give us that one more time. Oh no!
Yeah, I'm back.
All right.
I'm back.
All right, there we go.
He's back.
Yeah.
We'll
What I
fix
was
it.
saying
Give us that
is
one more
Not gonna
time.
fix it in post.
No.
We'll see. Maybe. Who knows? That's up to Chris. What I was going to say is that this was the showcase for me after 4 years that finally actually felt like next gen is here. These games looked amazing. Perfect Dark Fable looked incredible. Doom looked amazing. All these games just looked so great. And it was actual gameplay. It wasn't these CG trailers. It was the actual gameplay that just looked phenomenal. And these games are not coming to Xbox One. Finally, these are Series X games that we were seeing in the showcase. So finally, it seems like these studios that started developing their games at the start of the generation are getting ready to ship them. And they look really, really good.
It's kind of nuts how many of them are coming out next year. Like we've had a few years like this where it's been like, man, next year is going to be insane. And I feel like 2024 for the most part has kind of been like, it's going to be a little dry. Like there's not going to be these really big heavy hitters. And like
it's the
I think
inhale for a moment.
Yeah. Exactly. I think next year is going to be like overwhelming. If anything, like what's good I'm not a Game Pass fan. Like I'm very much a believer of like you should own the content that you want to play and buy and all that. I think what it is very good for though is when there's this much coming out, most people probably can't afford to buy every single game that comes out. And if they want to at least like dip their toe in, they can do that. And these first party studio games, like you can do that without much fear of, like, geez, I hate this game. Like,
yeah,
or you're not going to miss out on something.
The Game Pass price is just getting too high. I canceled.
What is it now?
It's $18 a month, I think. And that's a $60 game in like 3 months, basically. I know they're mostly $70 now, but with how many of these games, I just will either subscribe for the month I'm going to play them or buy them on my own, because it makes sense if you're primarily an Xbox owner or only an Xbox owner or a PC player for PC Game Pass. It makes a ton of sense. But for me, who's over here on Switch all the time, it just doesn't make sense anymore with how expensive it was. It did when you first get your Xbox, they were making some deals a couple years ago when they didn't have many games that was $8 or $9 a month for the first year. That was incredible, but now it's just getting a little too much. But super awesome show. It was really cool. Justin, is that Four Swords Adventures box always behind you, or is that new?
This guy? Oh, he's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That Dr. Mario on NES?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Like these,
I have that one too.
Here?
They've been there for a while, yeah. And like these originals, like this is Four Swords Adventure for the GameCube. This is Dr. Mario for the NES. Here's this one's for Chris.
Diddy Kong Racing!
Diddy Kong Racing, baby, let's go. So nice. Yeah, if you want to check out the box art and an enormous amount of single player and multiplayer modes. So if you've been on the fence all this time about Diddy Kong Racing, now you know.
And I'll give you a little hint. If you want to play co-op, I hate that it's not every day that I wake up in the morning. It's awful. And there's a cheat code where you can play co-op in that game.
That's awesome.
Wait,
you can play the whole game co-op. Yep.
Are you serious? I did not ever know that. That's so cool.
They just made it a thing you can turn on. Yep, they hit it. Because Rare did cool stuff like that.
They did. And sometimes we got to talk about how cool that game is. Like, it's not just Mario Kart with Banjo-Kazooie. Like,
with I don't even play as Banjo.
Yeah. Like the different vehicles that handle literally totally, like, you want to fly an airplane. There's like an airplane you can fly. Like, they're totally different. So damn creative.
It is such a good game. The closest that Mario Kart has kind of stolen some of that ideas with the hang gliding and the underwater stuff, but it's not the same.
Yeah. Like hover wheels and stuff. But no, yeah, because you still mostly control like a Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm. And then the Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing Transformed game, the second one they did in that series, was also pretty cool with the plane and the boat levels. But nothing really tops picking which one you're going to do for the whole race.
Exactly. Like determining exactly what type of race you're going to be. This unique game blends adventures and racing like no other game, which is exactly what we're telling you, listener.
That may be true.
Yeah.
Except
and there still hasn't been one like it since.
Those words in the title. Yeah, it might be a little bit better. Yeah, come on, Rare. Microsoft, get that one on Switch Online. Like, why not? Everything else is Tooie on Switch Online or just Banjo-Kazooie?
Yeah, I don't think Tooie is, no.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of Rare things
I don't think
missing.
it is.
for sure. But Diddy Kong Racing is one that should definitely be there. Okay, another big thing from this last week was Star Wars Outlaws, which is looking awesome, and I'm hesitant because it's an Ubisoft game, so we'll see, but it looks so good. But there's another Star Wars game out, and that is Star Wars Hunters. Justin, what is Star Wars Hunters? You've been playing a ton of it. Let's hear about it.
I have been playing so much of it. So Star Wars Hunters is a new hero shooter set in the Star Wars universe coming to Nintendo Switch and mobile. So it's a free-to-play Switch exclusive. And I had the good fortune of being asked to review it for IGN. By the time you see this, that review should be live. There's already a review in progress up, and I still need to finish the editing that's been done to my final review to make sure that, minimal typos and such. But so you should see that going up, and basically, it being a hero shooter, you have a whole assortment of, I think there's 13 characters you can choose from, and each plays pretty differently, but they do tend to fit into certain classes. Like there's basically tank, damage, and support. You're divided into 2 teams of 4, and it's got modes like a death match and like a capture point kind of thing. The big thing about it, and the thing that really, really stands out to me, besides the fact that it's a pretty competent, and just fun to play, shooter, is, it's really seems really well written, even though there's no real story to it. Some of the characters are hilarious. So one of the characters is literally 2 Jawas in a trench coat. That is who you play as, right?
That's great.
And it's so stinking funny. And even there's got your normal shooter match play-by-play announcers, and they don't talk a whole lot. A lot of times just scorekeeping, but then sometimes they chime in with something funny like, this match brought to you by the Alderaan Foundation, and hey, reminder to all the comedians, it will always be too soon. Just little things like that sprinkled in, just absolutely delightful during it. It's not a super sophisticated hero shooter, and I will say it's not ultra tactical like Valorant or a pure tactics game like a Counter-Strike. It's very much in the Overwatch mold, right? That's really kind of what it steers towards. So you're talking, each character has a ability and an ultimate move. You build up a meter kind of like in Splatoon towards your ultimate. There's little pickups on the field that you can do. And then for the most part, yeah, you just run around and you get kills. And I will say, I don't know if it's a combination of the Switch user base or maybe some people playing on mobile, but it's also honestly, for being a PvP game, fairly easy. I play a lot of shooters, but I'm not a high-end PvP player, but the degree to which I was bodying people, really good for my ego. It was a good boost after a long day to feel like I was incredible. They have a character, a droid J3DI, who is a robot that's basically programmed to be a Jedi, and so
that sounds awesome. That's so cool.
It's so funny, and so he, for his force pull, he literally shoots his hand out on this grappling hook and just yanks you to him. And so it simulates a Jedi, but it's not a Jedi, which is so much of the fun of it. And so, yeah, there's one character who's a giant Wookiee wielding 2 clubs, doesn't have guns, but has a ton of health. And so it's a lot of fun to play. The issues that I think most people who play will eventually run into, though, is it's not super deep. It's not super challenging. The matches are really short. They're about 5 minutes long. The team deathmatch, you have 2 teams of 4 people, is first to 25. So that goes by really quickly, which means there's also not a lot of opportunity for a lot of, back and forth necessarily. Usually what will happen is a team will take the lead and then they're going to win. I've been a part of a couple of comebacks, but it doesn't lend itself well to that. It's also, it's not super complicated from a shooting standpoint, so I'm sure there are players who are fantastic, but it seems like it's got a relatively small gap for a shooter between the skill floor and ceiling, and so it's hard to feel that interested just from that standpoint. Because it's a free-to-play game, it's also pretty heavily emphasizing monetization. So when you start the game...
I've heard a lot of people complaining about this.
Yeah, and that's probably my chief complaint, outside of the fact that, it just kind of gets old when you're doing the same old thing over and over again. It has a battle pass, and, a lot of premium and free battle passes, every level has a reward, but, 90% of the rewards, I feel like you have to be in the premium pass to get anything for them. Otherwise, it's
how much is the premium pass?
So there's a $10 version and a $20 version. The other thing that you do get with it is there is one hero that's not part of the game unless you're into the battle pass, and I guess they'll get unlocked at the end of the season. Well, but that kind of brings up the other issue that frankly makes it feel a little coercive to me from a microtransaction standpoint, and that's that when you start the game, you have only a couple of hunters unlocked. That's what the heroes are called. And as you play, you accumulate a certain currency that unlocks the next one, and the next one, and so on and so forth. Not necessarily a bad thing. However, the amount of time that it takes increases each time, and eventually the amount of time you have to invest to unlock a new hero is substantial. It's so much. Or you can spend a couple of bucks and just unlock them right now. And you get a lot of pop-ups when you're not in-game about the battle pass and about things that you can pay for and buy and all these things. So it really puts it in your face. And it's not a bad thing to advertise like your monetization, especially if you're free to play, like you rely on that. But there is a certain point where it becomes frankly annoying with all the pop-ups, and where it does start to feel coercive. Like if I want to get everything I can out of this game without investing a million hours just to get all the characters, and each character has their own like level up trees, and so it is fun when you get a new character, but like just to do that, I have to basically reach in my wallet and grab them a la carte. And you can either buy a certain currency that can contribute to it, or you can buy each one outright, and every time you buy a character, it's like $10, so you could easily spend $100 just unlocking characters. And so that aspect of it bothers me. Taken away from that, I had a chance to actually play some online games with a member of our community, with somebody from our Discord. I didn't ask if I could say their name on here, so I'm not going to say their name on here. But like playing with friends is a lot of fun. But even that is kind of a pain, because when you first download the game, social is turned off until you complete about 11 matches. So
Wait, that's so weird.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
I get
like,
one or two. But that's
exactly.
Yeah,
I can understand like, here's a tutorial, and then we want you just to go do a match or two.
Yeah.
Well, especially because, and like that can dissuade people from like bad actors from like quickly re-rolling, like wiping and starting new stuff. But like, but by the time you get a buddy to download the game to play with you, and they start playing, like it's maybe an hour goes by and you're checking in, you're like, hey, you ready to go yet? I'm here waiting. And so that sucks. And so it's like, ultimately, it's really, really fun to play, and it's simple, but it's fun. But it's everything around that I think needs some work before it's like I don't. It's never going to be like an Overwatch killer, but before it's like the Switch's like next really, really like amazing hero shooter, these things have to get addressed. And so I liked my time with it, but it's very much there are some games that when I wrap up a review with it, like I'm going to go back and play some more games because I had a really good time. Once I finished reviewing this one, I've kind of seen everything, and accumulating like a purple gun instead of a white gun, which is like what a lot of the other rewards are, just isn't that interesting. So it to me feels like the sort of game that is fun for a weekend, being Jawas with the boys, but not much beyond that.
Yeah, you said the 11 matches thing for playing online. This sounds like something, it's free. I would download it. I would play 11 matches, and I would delete it and never play it again.
Yeah.
So that's really bizarre that I can't.
11 matches is about I feel like the right to, again, an evening hanging with the buds. Yeah, that much time. But like to have such a big barrier ahead of that it seems crazy to me.
And everything else you said about it sounds like this is a mobile game that is also on Switch with the microtransactions and kind of the simple shooting, because it's a mobile game, so I guess it has to be somewhat simple to control on mobile. But so how does it look and run on Switch?
Honestly, it looks good. Like it's it's not ultra photorealistic or anything, but like it does an excellent job recreating all the Star Wars like designs that you expect. It's got a really attractive color palette, and so it looks good on the OLED screen. And I will say the fact that like your account is shared between the mobile and the Switch version, so I was able to do things like, hey, I've got a few minutes while my kids are at the park. Let me jump on a couple of matches real quick. So like being able to do that is really cool. And it also reminded me just how much I hate using the Joy-Con anytime I was in handheld mode on the Switch. Like I eventually got to the point where like, yeah, I was just chilling on the couch playing in handheld mode, but I'm just going to put it on the coffee table and grab the Pro Controller because this is so much better.
Hopefully the Joy-Con 2.0 are better for everybody, but we'll see. It's kind of a shame that Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection that came out was a total bust, because it looked so great just from the concept of what it was. Too. Yeah. But
I
mean, hopefully they've gone back and fixed that stuff.
I haven't heard whether or not they have. I will say though, if you get it on PC, like all that package is the PC release with mods, like included. Like the guy just stole a bunch of mods and packaged it. Whoever whatever studio was running.
It's good work if you can get it.
Yeah.
You said the guy. The one.
Well, there was the one guy making it. No, there was one guy that made the mods. That was where I mixed up.
Yeah.
But the yeah, it's still like on Steam if you are so inclined. If you're that desperate to play Battlefront, and I imagine it'll run on anything.
Like I will say, if you have a craving for like a hero shooter on Switch, again, it's free to play, and it is fun right off the bat. Like, frankly, and I this is going to sound worse than it is. Like, the earlier you are in your play experience, I think the more fun it is, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because again, I think it's a really fun shooter to play. It's just it doesn't have either the like really engaging sink its hooks into you progression like has made something like Call of Duty so addictive for people for so long. It also doesn't have the like ultra open-ended ridiculousness of playing like Halo, where you're like swapping stories of this amazing thing that happened afterwards, because it's more simplistic than that. That being said, it is fun to play, and the characters are cool, and like when you snipe a Wookiee from across a map to save your buddy, or there's this one little Greedo looking dude who has a gun that shoots these like hypodermic needles, as best I can tell, and if you shoot the enemy it poisons them, and if you shoot your allies it heals them. It's really fun, especially getting new characters. But once you've experienced them, it tapers off and it wears off, and it's okay. And frankly, like if this were a premium game that gave you the characters sooner, that you could honestly experience all of in 10 to 20 hours, I think it would actually be a better game. It just wouldn't be as probably lucrative.
Yeah. Yep, free to play is not always the best.
Mm-hmm. It should be pointed out, I think, if anyone's familiar with them, Zynga is the developer of this.
So they specialize in mobile games.
Yeah.
And it took forever to come out. This thing was announced so long ago in a Nintendo Direct ages ago, and I think a lot of people thought this thing was dead, and then it just surfaced a couple months ago. Oh, it's coming out in June on Switch. Okay. But yeah, I was surprised that this thing came back. I thought it was gone.
Yeah.
I want to talk about one game that I made. Thanks for sharing, Justin, by the way. That's good. Good Star Wars game on Switch. Yeah, because Outlaws obviously not coming to Switch. The modern Battlefronts never came. The Classic Collection is a bust. So where's the Star Wars stuff on Switch? Yeah. This is a good one. Yeah. I want to talk about a cool game that I saw.
On Switch, I wonder?
Super Star Wars? I don't think it is. They have a pod.
I don't
Star
think
Wars
you can.
Racer Episode 1. Which
you can on PS4?
So good. Which one?
Super Star Wars, you can play it on PS4.
Oh,
they
really?
They had a whole line of Star Wars, like old Star Wars games that you could get. And then Limited Run did a couple of re-releases. I think that was one of them.
Yeah, they did the Star Wars Trilogy pack. Looks like it did not make it to Switch, which is a shame, because those games are fun.
There was that Star Wars Heritage pack, which was 8 games, but those are all already pretty much on Switch on their own. I don't remember.
That's like KOTOR, I think, and all that, isn't it? Yeah, and like Jedi Academy.
Yeah, Jedi Academy, KOTOR 1 and 2, Star Wars Racer, Republic Commando, and Force Unleashed.
You know what game you might know it, Justin? You know what Star Wars game I loved growing up? I rented it from Blockbuster. I never played it again. Star Wars Obi-Wan on the Xbox.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That game was awesome.
It was excellent.
I've played that game.
Nobody talks about
that game.
Yeah, oh, really?
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, my neighbor once, I didn't have an Xbox growing up, but my neighbor was getting rid of his original Xbox and 30 games, and he just brought it over to our house. Like, here you go, I don't want this anymore. And one of the games I played was Star Wars Obi-Wan. That game's super fun.
Mm-hmm.
That game's cool.
Run around with your little rat tail.
Yeah, the guy who made it did a really good job.
That one guy. I'm never gonna live that down.
Nope.
It's so good. Okay, I
It's
want to
such
talk
a
about
bad slip.
a game called Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. Justin, this was at PAX East. Did you see it there?
I did not.
Okay, this is a
Yo-Yo's
really cool
big
game.
in gaming right now, apparently.
What else? What else are yo-yos big right now?
What's the blah blah blah's like big adventure or whatever?
Oh, Penny's Big Boy. Yeah,
Penny's,
There you go.
Yeah.
I got it with that description.
It was a flawless
Blah blah
description.
blah's Big Adventure.
Nailed it. Spot on.
So, Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo, blah blah blah, and the Cursed Yo-Yo is really cool. It is a Zelda-inspired top-down Link to the Past like, and I've been very
I heard
critical
about
of
this.
Zelda likes on this show. I think that there aren't very many good ones out there, and I only played about 15 minutes of this. But what I played, so cool. Basically, the main mechanic is a yo-yo, and this yo-yo bounces off all of these angled platforms that are placed all around the level. So if you want to kill an enemy that is to the left and up of you, if you shoot your yo-yo off of an angled platform, you can shoot it up and hit them with it. And the best Zelda mechanics are great for both puzzles and combat, and they use the yo-yo for puzzles in a really cool way, like grabbing a key by snaking your yo-yo through this platform that is too small to actually walk through. And that was kind of the extent of it from what I played, just because I played the first level. But if it takes that mechanic and runs with it across the course of a game, I think it's going to be really cool. And it wears its Zelda love on its sleeve. There are even some assets in there that look like they're pulled straight from Link to the Past in the best way. Like the torches that are hanging on the wall in this mansion that you're walking through in the first level. It just looks like Hyrule Castle in A Link to the Past. It looks like the underground, underneath the castle where you go right at the very start of that game. It's so cool. And I believe it is from the same developer of Dodgeball Academia, which came out a while ago. Is that what it's called?
What a name.
Yes.
Dodgeball Academy? One of those two. But
Something
that
like that.
game was one that Dodgeball Academia, I liked
Academia,
it, but
amazing.
I had a lot of issues with it and was kind of hoping that whatever the studio went and made next, they would learn from this one. And now they're making this, so I'm super psyched for it. It's really cool. And yeah, you guys should check this one out and wishlist it. I think it's a part of Steam Next Fest.
I was just going to say that there is a demo available. Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's awesome though. So yeah, that's blah 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 and the blah blah, Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. You should play it because it's awesome. It's really cool. It's my favorite thing that I saw in the
Give
last
$1 to the person who made it.
Yeah,
That's
give
right.
$1. Give $1. Should be the person who made it. But yeah, that game's awesome. And I'm all. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to shout out another game when you were done.
Do it. I'm done.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. So I was going through Twitter today, and one David Wise, who is of Donkey Kong Country fan, video game composer,
Yes.
shared a game that he made some new music for recently that just got announced. That has an interesting name, and when you see it,
I know
you're
what it's
gonna-
called. It's called Something Aneko and the Something. Go with
It's called Nico de Rico, The Magical World.
That's what he said.
That's exactly what he said. The one guy. And it's almost like a love letter to like Donkey Kong Country and Crash Bandicoot, like if they were combined into like a modern game. Visually, it looks very similar to like Crash 4. But if any of what I just said piques your interest, you should look at the trailer for this game. It looks like a super fun, just like co-op romp of like, classic game stylings. So I'm definitely going to be checking it out once it comes out. I did wishlist it. That's all I know about it. I just saw the trailer. Thought it looked really cool.
This is one that I had to add into the database for my job over the last weekend. We got a press release about it in my inbox, and I had so many games. Sometimes I look at what the gameplay actually looks like. Sometimes I just move on. And this one, it's like, I'll check out the 50-second trailer for this one, and I'm watching, and it just is Donkey Kong Country, so I wishlisted it too. It looks so good. Even at one point, a rhino busts out of a barrel, and the main character hops on it and rides it. That is how Donkey Kong Country it is.
No, it's even better than that. So there's a character selector there. So you can either be the frog or the rhino, so like you can just choose whichever one you want at any given moment.
I didn't notice that. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's barrel riding.
Yeah,
like it is.
I'm looking at
it
the
knows
trailer right
exactly
now.
what
I
it
see
is.
mine carts.
Yeah. but I'm very excited for
Yeah,
it.
there were models too. That's right. Yeah. So very, very, very much a Donkey Kong Country game. Oh, Chris, I wanted to ask you, do you care at all about Yooka-Laylee, which got announced in the last week also? This is a remaster of Yooka-Laylee.
How much time do you have?
Give me 2 minutes on this.
Okay, that's fine. So I have a lot of problems with Yooka-Laylee, as many people know. I think it's too big. I think everything is too spaced out in that game, and it's too hard to find anything and too hard to know what you have to do. That's not what made Banjo-Kazooie great. Yooka-Laylee, they're like, yeah, we fixed things. We added a map and we updated the visuals. And then a lot of it just sounds like a lot of fluff. Like, what I want to hear them say is, do characters control better? Does it feel tighter? Did you basically take the whole level and grab the corner of it, like if you were in Photoshop, and just pull it in a little bit so things were just closer together? Yeah, it just, I feel like you can't just reskin that game and make it better. I think that game has a lot of fundamental problems. I think you need to rebuild it in a different engine too. I really don't think Unity is doing that game any favors. Yeah, I will watch it from afar, and I'm interested to see if people that didn't like it, the original version, if they don't like this one, I will not be playing it. I am Yooka-Laylee, like, really, it hurts a lot, like, thinking about that game, like, given how many people that were, like, you have to understand, like, Xbox buys Rare, Banjo is gone, they make nuts and bolts, it's not what anyone wants. Then this studio comes out of thin air and says, we're starting a Kickstarter, we're starting our own company. It's all the original Banjo guys. And they put out this game. I backed it for way more than I should have. Waited for it for years. And then played it and was, like, wildly disappointed.
Yeah, that's
like,
a bummer.
Yeah. And there just hasn't been anything like it since.
Impossible Air? Did you play their...
Impossible Air is great, but it's not Banjo-Kazooie. Cool. Yeah.
No, it's Donkey Kong Country.
Okay,
well, we'll see on that.
I feel like we just heard Chris's, like, villain origin story.
Yeah.
it like, legitimately, like, it was one of those moments I was like, do I just stop playing video games? Yeah.
Was that would be, if you made a list of 5 biggest video game disappointments, would that be on?
That's number 1.
Is it that bad?
It's number 1.
Oh, wow.
If Chris made a list of 5 video game disappointments, this would be 4 of them.
Yeah.
Number 1, Yooka-Laylee. Number 2, Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah. Number 3, Microsoft buying Rare. Number 4, Donkey Kong Racing getting canceled.
Yeah. You're a man, what you love, Chris. You know exactly what you want, and it's Banjo.
You know what? And it's funny because people always will be like, "You should play this game," and I'm like, "No, I shouldn't. Shut up!" Like, I know what I like. At this point, I'm 31 years old. I'm not going to try and pretend anymore. Yeah, like, who are we kidding? I like platformers and cute racing games and rhythm games, and that's about it.
Wait a second. So when I said, does a rec like Prince of Persia fall into that category that I gave you?
Oh, no, I like Metroidvanias, too.
Yeah.
Because
I try and give recs on what I know people like, not like, I think this is so great, you'll love it, too.
No, but when, like earlier, before we started, Justin was like, do you like Souls games? And I was like, they're not for me. And he was fine with that. But, like, there are other people I've had that conversation with, and they're like, no, let me sit here for 30 minutes and tell you why I should play a Souls game. And I'm so tired of having that conversation, because I don't like them. I've played every one of them, and I don't care. I've spent so much money on Souls games. I'm never going to like them. It's fine.
Why have you played every one of them?
Because they've all tried to convince me that, well, this one's a little bit different. Maybe you'll like this one.
Punishing himself.
Yeah. And then I play it, and I'm like, that's all the same. I play it, I die, and I go back to the beginning. Like, why am I doing this?
I would say, like, as somebody who likes Souls games and has played all of them going back to Demon Souls, they are the same game every bit as much as the, like, Ocarina through Twilight Princess Zeldas were the same game. Like, they are that, like, there is almost an eclipse of that in that Venn diagram.
That's good. Yeah, that's actually a really good comparison. Oh, but it's Demon Souls, but this time it's like Lovecraftian. oh, it's Demon Souls, but this time you're
Right.
you're a shinobi.
Well, and not only that, but like, hey, here's also like that same monster you fought in 4 other games. Yeah, here's the Bloodborne version of this giant weapon that you've wielded 100 times that's got more or less the same moveset. It is very, 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 very similar.
Speaking of giant weapons to fight the monster you've seen in 5 games, I'm finally sold on Monster Hunter Wilds. I think that game looks great now.
Oh my god, that last trailer looks so good!
Yes. This is the one that did it, because for several months I have not liked the graphics. I thought that the sand... I was like Anakin. I hated it. I did not like how the sand looked. And finally I've come around, and I think that it looks pretty good. But on the other side, speaking of games that maybe a remaster won't do enough to fix... Luigi's Mansion 2 HD previews are out, so let's talk about them. It seems like this is Luigi's Mansion 2 with an HD coat of paint. I was hoping maybe they would surprise us with some big overhaul to the game, just like Chris was talking about with Yooka-Laylee, but no, this is Luigi's Mansion 2. They have updated the graphics. There's new character models that kind of look more like the characters look in 3. King Boo looks pretty different in Luigi's Mansion. Looks more in 2 HD like what he looks like in 3. And then other changes, the map, there's a mini map because you don't have a bottom screen anymore. There's just more UI because there's not a bottom screen. That's the changes. That's the list. That's it. So it's Luigi's Mansion 2 with an HD coat of paint, and then some slight UI changes because of how, and motion controls now, which I think the 3DS original had, but just slightly revamped controls with the twin stick, which they also had in Luigi's Mansion 3. So pretty lukewarm on it for $60. Also, it bugs me. It's the same conversation as the Mario vs. Donkey Kong price point. I think they missed it by $10 here. I think this is a $50 game. To me, again, that's a different conversation for everyone. But Justin, this is the one you have not played, right?
This is the one I haven't played, yeah.
3. How are you feeling about it?
Well, I mean, so I am going to play it. I will say I was hopeful for a little bit more of a ground-up remake for it rather than a port, which is what it really seems like it is. In particular, legacy issues like the mission structure seem to not have changed at all. And so as much as updating controls, making it look pretty are things that I'm just generally in favor of, it seems like there's some fundamental design things that really are the crux of the critiques of it, and I doesn't seem like those have improved. That being said, I haven't played it, so I'm going to reserve judgment till I play it myself. I'm a big fan of Luigi. I'm a big fan of the Luigi's Mansion series, and as you said, this is the one that I missed, so I'm cautiously optimistic for it. Ultimately, it sounds like the best case scenario is I just like it more than people who disliked it.
Yeah. There's plenty of fans for this game. There's people that really love this one. Just, I don't know, from also what I know about your taste, Justin, you like exploring and getting lost, and you hate chatty Nintendo games.
Yeah,
this game
and I will
is
say
so chatty. You're gonna hate this game. You're gonna hate it so much. Yeah, you might.
Yep.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the reaction. I'm gonna get it and play it because I want to talk about it here with you guys, but I'm not super excited for it. My hope is, and this I think this is with a strong dose of cope. I really wish that if there's a Direct next week, that's like a week before Luigi's Mansion 2 comes out. What if they pull like a Pikmin 1+2 where they're like, oh, remember that other one that you really love? It's coming here too. It's like a cheaper, digital-only, just up-resed version of the 3DS game. I wish this was Luigi's Mansion 1+2 HD so badly. I think the hype surrounding this thing would be so much bigger if they had done that. And it wouldn't have been that much since they already had the 3DS one right there that was right in line with 2. It's a big bummer. Chris, how you feeling about it?
I mean, I really enjoyed this game at the time when I did play it. I feel like it'll be one that Jess and I pass the controller back and forth on the couch. Like maybe one of us is doing chores around the house or just like half watching the other play. So that's probably how I'll end up playing it. It is certainly not anywhere near to the caliber of Luigi's Mansion 1 or 3. 3 is I feel like a happy medium, whereas 1 is very much like you're getting lost in the sauce of like going through the entire mansion. And 3, it's like, oh, now I'm on the pirate ship floor of this hotel that exists somehow, which doesn't make sense, but is fun anyway. And no one said anything the wiser. So no, I mean this game's fine, but like I do remember it being very repetitive. Like if you were trying to 100% it, if you try to 100% this game, it's not fun. I do remember that. Because there's like certain things that if you miss certain action sequences when they occur, you end up having to replay the entire level. And if they don't fix that in this, that'll kind of suck. That's probably the fact that it's been 10 years and I still remember that, like there was some snowball level. Like I remember that specifically, playing it over and over again. Yeah, that will be a huge missed opportunity. And I don't think they'll change that. Like, I think they're just porting it over, and like you said, shifting the map and shipping the thing. I think that's it. I had a similar moment with Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, where I was going around, I went back to Hooktail Castle because I was looking for a star piece, and I thought I could get it, and then ended up looking it up. It turns out I couldn't. But I climbed to the top of the castle and then went, how do I get out of here? Oh, I just have to walk back, because that's what you did in games from 2004. They didn't do anything to fix that. Like, they're not going to do anything to fix those kind of situations in this game either. And that's
they
fine.
They did some to fix it in Paper Mario. They didn't add fast travel, but they did make it easier to get back to those places, like we talked about.
Yeah, but
are you still playing
when
Paper
I was
Mario?
there?
It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm not any further. But
okay.
Define playing. I turn it on before bed, and then I get tired, and then I fall asleep because there's a lot of text in that game.
Yes, there is. Okay. So you're still, what, Chapter 2? Chapter 1?
Chapter 2, yeah.
Chapter 2, okay, cool. You're almost to the best chapters. You're almost there.
Oh.
Justin, did you pick up Thousand Year Door yet?
Not yet. I have not had time. I've been playing so much Star Wars Hunters this last week.
Yes.
And I'm working on some other secret projects right now I can't talk about yet.
Ooh, secret projects. Well, let's talk about Nintendo secret projects. Nintendo Direct predictions. Justin missed the episode where Chris and I went through and talked about what we wanted to be in the June Nintendo Direct. Justin, what do you want to see? What do you hope to see? What do you think we're going to see?
Ooh, okay. I am ready to put on my clown nose and long green sock hat for Zelda. And once again, bag for Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, particularly Twilight Princess. I do feel like it's been too long since we've heard from any Star Fox something. I'm ready to get hurt again on that too. But
I think that's the clown makeup one there. Star Fox.
Yeah,
I might be wrong.
I said the same thing.
Good man. Yeah, and man,
yep.
I was in the car the other day, and I was like thinking about, man, I wish somebody would just make a like true to formula Star Fox, like original Star Fox 64, like something looks nice on the hardware, on rails, maybe some open sections like the boss fights or things like that in 64. Not put me on a planet wielding a stick fighting dinosaurs, or make it Five Nights at Star Fox's where I'm monitoring security cameras the whole time. I would love to see that. Feels like it's a very weirdly quiet year based on what we know for Pokemon. So yeah. I feel like there's got to be something cooking there.
Well, we know the next Pokemon's next year, the Pokemon Legends EA. So we'll see if they.
That's true.
There could be a spin-off or something.
We did say this. There has to be something. Like I refuse to believe that we're going to go through a holiday season without there being a Poke something coming out. And so I just don't see it.
Let's go gold, silver.
Oh my gosh.
Sure.
I think a mystery dungeon or something is the best bet for Pokemon.
Okay, so the eternal question, every time we do these discussions, or we talk about what I think or what I want, right?
Either one. Whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay, so then here's what I want, is I want that giant influx of classic Pokemon in Nintendo Switch Online. I want Fire Red and Leaf Green, and I want to be able to play those. And I want them to say, and you can download them right now, and for me to be able to immediately download them onto my Switch. That's what I would like to see, and that, I think, anybody who has a Switch who is not on Nintendo Switch Online, if that happened, they would get on that service immediately, and then you've got people on that service through the presumptive launch maybe of a next system, so they're already into it, and so then they're going to renew next year. That's a great business move. So I would love to see that. So I think, like, they're not the most creative predictions. I get it, but that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm going to have my fingers crossed. Instead, what we're going to get is a whole bunch of really, really teeny tiny games and ports from the 3DS that I feel excited about, but I'm not actually, and I will never play.
That was sad. That was a sad finish to the prediction there. Wait, you wouldn't play Link Between Worlds if they ported that to the Switch?
I mean, I would.
You absolutely would.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. But like, again, if they're going to port something to Switch, I want it to frankly be older than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I get that too. Yeah, on the show last time, I was talking about like Kirby Air Ride. I love that they're pulling from the GameCube well recently.
Yeah.
I want them to keep going back to that well because there's awesome stuff there. To your Pokemon thing, there's been so many times we've sat here and said it makes so much sense. Now's the time for Virtual Console Pokemon. But I'm going to say it again. It makes so much sense if now is the time for Virtual Console Pokemon because
here's
I
the
look
thing,
at that
though.
lineup.
We were right every time we said it.
You're right. It's always the time. But if they want people to re-up their subs, like you were saying, what have they put out this year that has online play? I believe the answer is nothing.
Endless Ocean. Endless Ocean has online play.
Yeah, you got me. You just called me out.
Oh,
bodied.
Fake Nintendo fan. Do you even play Nintendo?
You got me. Yeah, you're totally right. That was supposed to be their online game, but it's awful. It's so bad. Okay, so when was the last time they put out a good...
Logan is now canceling his Nintendo Switch Online because you reminded him of that.
I don't need it anymore. Yeah, but I think we need something to keep our subscriptions, and the 4 out of 10, probably 30,000 copies selling Endless Ocean is not it. So I'd love to see...
Iggy's Wrecking Balls didn't do it for you?
No. But that other game they put out, what was it? Extreme G? Is that what it's called?
Extreme G?
Oh, we talked about that. That's that is a callback to Nintendo 64 era racers, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
I played the heck out of Extreme G2 back in the day. That was my jam.
There's an Extreme
Diddy Kong
G2.
Racing, if not now, when?
Right.
If not now, never. Let's play Yooka-Laylee Racing, which is going to have just terrible track design, and you're going to back it for $200.
No, not again. No.
This kid's college fund is going into backing it, and it's terrible.
So that's what's going to happen. Maybe that's what they'll do next, though. Yooka-Laylee Racing. That'd be fun. Okay. I think that's our show for this week. We really hope to have a direct to talk about with you next week, but that's another episode of the Toadstool Boardroom in the books. We're a weekly Nintendo show here on Thursdays at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, video version on YouTube. Listen to us wherever you like to listen to your shows. Justin, where can people find you, and where can people read your Star Wars Hunters review?
Oh man, I miss talking to you guys so much. This was so much fun. So Star Wars Hunters review, by the time you hear this, should be up on IGN.com. You should also be able to, I would think, see the video review by that time, but sometimes those take a little bit longer depending on the production aspect of that. I will also have a preview of a thing up by then. Just keep an eye on my Twitter at KOREIS, because I'll have a couple of things to promote.
Nice. I also miss talking to you guys. This was a fun show. I've always had this theory that the best shows are after you take a week off, so maybe we should just go bi-weekly, and then every show will be an absolute banger. Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me at Shrives93 when I'm not tweeting about my bowel movements. I'm usually tweeting about home server stuff or ROM hacks or just weird stuff I find on the internet. Like this one, there's a new Epic DB, a Steam DB equivalent, which just launched, appears to be leaking many unannounced projects under different code names. That came out.
You're
about to be real busy.
It's always the end of the show where you're like, "Oh, this just happened."
One more
this
thing.
just happened.
They always do that, though. It's always this time of day.
Yeah.
So what's leaking?
Final Fantasy 16 on Epic Games. Final Fantasy 9 Remake. Turok from Saber. The Last of Us Part 2.
Okay.
Stranger of Paradise. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. A lot of these are ports.
Yeah.
Wait, what are these ports to?
PC.
These are ports to the Epic Game Store to PC.
Hey, shout out to Turok, though. Speaking of N64 greats.
Shout out to Turkey 2, Seeds of Evil.
The one guy that made it.
Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to whoever made Turkey 2. Yeah, okay, I'm debuting my new sign-off, which I tried on another episode that I did, and I've decided I'm going to do it every week. But you can find me on Twitter at LoganJPlant. Yeah, I'm just recovering now. I'm so tired from the last weekend, so I'm not doing anything right now. But we'll hopefully have more to share soon. Okay, that's all the time I've got. I got to get back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my Nintendo 3DS. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Toadstool Boardroom. We'll see you next week, right back here in the Toadstool Boardroom.